From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter, coming to you for the first time in HD. Yay! A little prettier than usual, I hope. My name's Ben. Joining me tonight we have Allison.
Good evening, everyone.
Jill.
Hello.
Rob.
What's up, guys?
And Pete.
Sivaco. Let's start the show.
Yeah. Shout out to Rob for making some of the graphics on here look better. Thank you for that. Come to this guy like 30 minutes before the show. Hey, can you fix this? It's like, yeah, I got this. So,
not a problem. Anything for you, Ben.
Thank you. Kicking things off with some time shuffling going on with the park hours for Magic Kingdom specifically. So previously they were open from just 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. As of Friday the 6th, very, very close to making us all yell, they are now open until 7 p.m. So they have added an entire extra hour to the Magic Kingdom, but
Wow.
They haven't done that for Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom. They've extended their hours out through November 28th on the calendar, and they have not changed anything there. This comes as a bit of a shock to me. I'd think that Hollywood Studios would be getting more crowded than Magic Kingdom in that time frame. Given that it's got more of the newer attractions and things like that, and also with Rise being rather unpredictable, they might need more time to get everybody in for the boarding groups on that. Is this a bit of a surprise for anybody else, or does it make really, like, can you explain why just Magic Kingdom would get this boost?
I think maybe they want to empty the other parks at that time because they're having those issues with Hollywood Studios and with Rise, and it's like, all right, well, if Magic Kingdom's open later, maybe some of those people will choose to be in that park because they can be in Magic Kingdom because they can be in that park longer now. So maybe it's a way to reshuffle the distribution. I don't know.
I just think this is all about Christmas. I think this is all of...
Jill, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, I think this is just, I mean, it's starting November 6th. So it's starting at holiday season when I'm anticipating that they are expecting slightly higher crowds coming in for Christmas. That is typically their busiest time of year. Magic Kingdom is getting extended because they only have really Magic Kingdom is where they have the most holiday offerings of any park. They're doing the projection show on the castles, so they need to extend the hours to kind of extend the amount of time after dark they have in the park. What surprises me is that they're not extending this until starting November 6th. But meanwhile, Universal has been extending their park hours, at least on Saturdays for right now, and potentially more throughout the Halloween season, because they are now offering 2 Halloween Horror Nights houses to regular park ticket holders. So it's not going to be a hard ticketed event. They're adding these 2 houses. So you've got Universal now open until 8 p.m., at least on Saturdays. But Disney isn't really responding to that. So I think it's really interesting that Disney has almost like conceded the entire like fall season up until the beginning of November to Universal and just said, we're not doing anything. We decorated the Magic Kingdom, but that's all. We put some characters in costume, but that's really all you're getting. We're not extending hours. The shortened hours are sticking around, and then they're not extending hours until Christmas, and then it's just at Magic Kingdom. And weirdly, they're pushing back Epcot hours. Epcot is not opening until noon, which I don't get it. I just don't get it. But
why?
I mean, why waste the entire morning of Epcot? It's just ridiculous.
And, like, you can't park hop either, which just kills me, because, like, I could see that making sense in a park hop world, where it's, you start somewhere else and then you head over to Epcot for lunch. But that's not even a thing right now. Like, why?
What do they expect people to do? If people have Epcot park passes, what do they expect people to do until noon? Like, it's ridiculous.
I can finally rope drop Epcot. Hooray!
But it's now the Sunday morning park because you can go out Saturday night and still be up. That was a good joke.
That was really good.
That was, because I had something I was going to say, but I can't follow that, so...
No, you can't beat that. Moving on to a topic where I think Pete is going to have a lot more to say, because I think he had some firsthand experience with what we're about to talk about. There was a man who was rather publicly ejected from Hollywood studios on the 15th of September, so yesterday as of time of recording, while they were screaming misquotes from Bug's Life. Pete, take me there. What was going on here?
I mean, I was sitting there enjoying a nice cold beverage outside of Baseline Tap House, and then all of a sudden we hear this commotion coming up, and it's like, what is going on? And you see like 3 or 4 security guards, and then a few other people with, name tags and plainclothes people, kind of like semicircled around this guy, and he's yelling and pointing at people, saying, "Follow me, we need to stand up together. We're living in biblical times." He was ranting, and then like every once in a while he would like try and stop where there would be like a crowd like watching, and like security just kept like, "All right, keep it moving." And then by the time I didn't even register to like think to take my phone out. Yeah, that's my Snapchat. The crazies are out today. I wish I didn't put that on there, but it's kind of true. I feel bad for the guy. Actually, I felt bad for his kid. That's his kid right there.
Oh my god!
Who's wearing it. But yeah, by the time I got the phone out, it was I'm perfect. I recorded more of it because it just didn't register to record this. But when he started saying the Bugs Life stuff and the movie about Walt Disney World, I mean, we were losing it. It was wild. A few takeaways on a realistic stage. One, I was surprised security brought him down the middle of the park and not backstage. I don't know why they wouldn't just take him to a backstage area and walk him out behind closed doors. You're like kind of giving him a stage on the way out there. So that was like our first takeaway. 2 was like the guy had to have worn a mask into the park. Like you can't get in without a mask. Mm-hmm. So like it was just decide like this is where I take a stand at 2:45 p.m. This is when I say enough with the mask and throw it in the garbage. Like, I don't understand what ticked him off at that point. It was a scene. The quotes, we were dying, like, for the next, 2 hours. We just sat at Baseline, hoping someone... I mean, it was, the best cavalcade we've ever seen.
The maskless
They should have, followed right behind him with the Disney Junior dance party. That would have been fantastic.
Allison, I think you're muted.
I wanted to see him come down yelling from the back of a Camaro.
So that makes me think that, I had the first thought was, why didn't they take this guy immediately backstage so no one sees what's going on here? And then I was like, well, actually, this is really great to see Disney security on display that they're not going to tolerate this and they're going to go right out of the park. And so, yeah, that's why they could have had Disney Junior parading behind him. It's great PR for the Disney company. Like, no, we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. I feel bad, not for the guy, not for his kid, but I feel bad for all the security officers as this guy is screaming in their general direction, and screaming is kind of like singing. It's like a super spreading kind of activity. But I was really impressed with the way Disney handled it. It was calm. It was relatively efficient, and he was out of the park, and now everybody knows you can't behave like that.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I don't want to... If you want to see the video, go to WDWNT.com. Obviously, I gave the it's on the site in this story. People have copied it, and which I'm really pissed about, and put it up on their YouTube channels, which I was like, please take this down. Go to WDWNT. Something this must have been planning, because there's a 2-hour-long diatribe when it started until he's actually out of the park. He recorded himself on his Facebook page. You can go do the homework if you want to go find it. I'm not going to give too much away. Just go read the article on our site first. But this guy, I don't know if this was planned or not, because he literally starts talking and yelling on a Facebook Live, and then you can see his entire walk from his perspective on his Facebook. I don't know. It's a wild story. I mean, the Bugs Life quote is just like the best part of the entire thing. Like, a lot of it's nonsense. You don't want to watch it, but the Bugs Life
Pixar movie.
So good. Well, it was a wild day. It was a great. Also, too, like, just to talk about Hollywood Studios yesterday, they are definitely increasing crowds. Let's like talk some Disney news for a second here. Like, all the rides in the park. I put a picture up on my Twitter. At one point, every single attraction had more than a 30-minute wait. It was crazy.
Yikes.
Like, for anywhere from 30, I think, to 95 minutes was every single attraction. So and they have a lot more rides now than they used to. So capacity had to have gone up in that park. Even for Baseline Tap House, there was a 20-minute wait to get a drink. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, they had their line wrapped out of Baseline, down the ramp, and then up Grand Avenue just to get a drink over there, too. So it was just a random Tuesday. So they're definitely increasing crowd capacity over there for sure.
Yeah. Well, I could not have asked you to set me up for a better transition on this one. Speaking of increasing capacity, let's see if Disneyland can increase their capacity from 0 to any. So Anaheim has there's a few stories in this that I want to talk about. So Anaheim's been pushing for the governor of California to reopen Disneyland and California Adventure. The Disneyland president, Ken Potrock, that's a great last name, is disappointed with California's lack of progress on reopening the theme parks. And then earlier today, the governor stated that theme park reopening guidelines would be announced soon, which is, as we all know from Spaceballs, when then will be now. So we've got that coming soon. I swear we had a story last week that said it was coming soon. Can we actually have a now?
How do you define soon?
I know. I was like, wait a minute. Breaking news. It's still closed. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's very depressing. As a matter of fact, looking at the blog, there was a lot of like deja vu. It's like, Disneyland's still closed and the people mover's still broken. So, I mean, I'm so frustrated by this, and I'm sure Disney is too. They've gotten to the point where they're starting to sell merch just anywhere in downtown Disney that they can. I don't know if you saw the story about Wonderland Gallery, which was a very cool place to go at Disneyland, is now a Galaxy's Edge trading post where they're selling things that somebody joked in the comments, well, they couldn't sell them in the park, maybe they can sell them out of the park. They closed down. There was like an area where you could do like selfies all over the place down at the end of downtown Disney, and they're selling like pops and popcorn buckets out of that place. So they have so much merch and things that they need to sell, and they can't sell them in the park, so they're selling them basically in the streets of downtown Disney. I'm just really I don't understand why they can't open this stuff up yet. Everything else seems to be opening up. I understand there's a pandemic. I get that. But everything else seems to be opening up. I don't understand what's pulling them back from being able to open up Disneyland. But I know I keep whining about it, but as soon as the doors open, I want to be there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that everybody here thinks that California is ready to open then? Like, nobody's looking at that going, oh gosh, maybe you shouldn't?
The restaurants in downtown Disney are now allowed to serve. Like, if you're going to let the restaurants open in the same plaza, you should be allowed into the park where they have the strictest rules. I mean, we literally just talked about a guy being escorted out because he wouldn't wear a mask the entire time. They're strict. They have shields up. Disney, we've said this over and over again since the parks reopened. They did a great job with following all the rules and going above and beyond. Especially, I went to Fun Spot. Not to go to Fun Spot. Let me rephrase. I was next to Fun Spot. And I don't think I saw anyone with a mask at all. So, like, it's Disney is going above and beyond. We've talked about this. So if you're going to allow the restaurants on the same plaza to open and have people there, let people go into their beloved park. They already said they were going to do a reservation system, so it's going to be, start with a smaller capacity and work their way up, kind of like they're doing here in Orlando. So to me, if you're going to open up the restaurants, let people into the parks.
Makes sense.
Well, and the other thing
is,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe I think they're holding back. If you allow one, I'm sorry. I was going to say, if they allow one theme park, they have to allow all of them, and maybe that's what the governor is afraid of, is that not everyone will do as good a job as Disney.
Yeah. Joe, go ahead.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say, is that in Orlando, you don't just have Disney open. I mean, first of all, Disney has 4 parks in Orlando. You've got 2 parks in Universal open, where, again, the mask-wearing restrictions are not as tightly enforced as they are in Disney, and the capacities are... While we don't have hard numbers from personal experience of being there, the capacity numbers in Universal are higher than Disney, based on what the park is able to hold. Then you've got SeaWorld open. You've got places like Fun Spot where, my guess is that Pete's assessment of masklessness is probably right. You've got all this other stuff in Orlando. And that's been open for quite a while now, 2 months. Disney's been open for 2 months, and we're not seeing this huge spike in numbers. So if you can do that in Orlando, which is, theme park capital of the world, and all of these things are packed so closely together, why can't you do that in California where, Knott's Berry Farm is further away from Disney than Universal is from Disney in Florida. I just don't understand why we have this example that is being run just fine and isn't causing significant consequences in terms of a coronavirus spike, and yet that's not good enough.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I was going to say the same thing, Jill, is that, we do have a case study right here, down in Florida that says that it can be done, and, they've got great numbers. But California is the number 1 state, according to Johns Hopkins, as, for coronavirus, but its numbers have gone down and down and down so drastically. When they opened up Florida and Disney, those numbers were going up when they opened up Disney. Right now, the numbers are going down in California. It feels like there's finally time for them to do that. And again, to Jill's point, we already have an example in Florida. To Pete's point, there are already things open that probably aren't following as close to guidelines in California as they will when they opened up Disneyland. So it just seems like it's time.
Well, so the one thing I will say is that right now, the other thing California has to deal with is the fact that it's mostly on fire. To caveat a little bit with some, let's talk about the real world and not just, our theme park bubble.
I forgot about that.
Maybe opening Disneyland is not Gavin Newsom's biggest priority right now because his state is literally burning to the ground. So sympathies out to all of the people that are being affected by that. But at the same time, it's not like Disneyland hasn't been open during forest fires before. So,
yeah, but I could see reopening being harder than just opening.
Yeah, so, yeah. It's just not where they have resources to direct right now.
Allison, what was that?
And these forest fires are significantly worse than what they normally see.
Yeah, that too.
And the air quality and all the other issues going on. But a lot going on in the state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Moving on from there to the problems we've got here at home. So a lot of us are Florida-centric here. The People Mover is still not open. Surprising no one, we've got more maintenance issues. The People Mover can't reopen. Rise of the Resistance has been having more downtime, some bad progress with the boarding group numbers. Guests got evacuated with the fire alarms going off earlier this week. And then Splash Mountain got fully evac'd. We are having some issues here. Is like, are we not paying maintenance at this point? Because I feel like there was definitely some initial, like, the possibility when we first reopened that we were trying to recover from not being open for so long and things just kind of falling apart due to weathering and time and all of that. So I definitely get having some issues when we first reopened, but at this point I think we're out of that time frame, and I'm really kind of nervous about the sheer magnitude and frequency of park issues on things that shouldn't be having this many issues. Like, what?
Our boy Chapek was like, 30% crowds, 30% the maintenance team. Fair is fair.
Oh no.
I can't pay these people if there's not more people buying merch. This is ridiculous.
Well, then how do you justify Splash? It's selling more merch than... I'm stopping.
If people think it's going to fall apart, that merch is going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
Anytime anything's about to close, or there's like trouble on the horizon, or it just isn't, we're going to buy merch. That's it. It's like, I don't know. Late maintenance issues, let's talk about the actual thing here. It shouldn't be happening. I think that in this day and age with so much Disney news and people being at home following Disney news, and there's all these Disney news outlets and everything else, I think we hear more about like breakdowns and evac, that day in Splash, but we broke down. I think we hear a lot more of it, so that's why I think there's more of these. Is it right? No, Disney should be doing a much better job. You have the best reputation in the business. You kind of want to keep it. You don't want to become the company that always is having issues. So I think it's something that they have to jump on. Maybe it's time to bring back WDWNT Fix It. Let's go.
the maintenance report. Yeah.
The maintenance report. Yeah, like this specifically, I get the what photos?
The evac photos from Splash Mountain are crazy. I've never seen like photos like they're handing out water to people sitting in the log flumes. Like this is, it's really. This isn't like I haven't really seen anything like that. And then they're just sitting there in the water, totally empty, like just stranded. I'm actually impressed they got the water bottles.
You would say great and big or beautiful. They just say there's tomorrow.
Yeah, they're there with the water bottles.
Golly.
Yeah, like we don't know how to get you out of here, folks, because you're nowhere near like a safe exit here. Like these are crazy photos. They need to work on this ASAP, and they also need to work on the People Mover because that's my absolute favorite attraction. And Tomorrowland just looks terrible if there's no movement up above and no kinetic energy. Like that's the whole energy of the land. This needs to be priority number one. Like the whole park should be 101 if you can't get this stuff up and running.
Yeah.
Like get it together.
Well, the whole park might be 101 if they don't get it together. Oh gosh. Before we move on, quick shout out to Adventures with John. Thank you for the super chat, saying literally because Pete Carney's on the show.
Shucks. It's my other YouTube account. I'm just sending it to myself just to give myself some credit.
Jeez.
A good investment.
Shout out to Michael, who gave one at the top of the show that I missed, unfortunately, saying he was here to hear about the folks in Hollywood Studios, saying he should have called Ganondola. So I mean, at this point, he might need to. So we'll see about.
No
that.
one else will represent him. So.
Yeah. Oh. All right, moving on from there over to the Animal Kingdom. This is adorable. I love this story. So I love this story and hate this story for very different reasons. They have reopened the games over in Animal Kingdom's Dinoland USA section, the Fossil Fun Games as it's called on the guide map. There are a few of them in there. I could have sworn we had more pictures in here. Oh, right, the other article. We've got pictures of the plush that you can win because there are all new plush here, and oh my gosh, those dinos are the best. I love them so much. That is amazing. I definitely understand why they would make these adorable things you couldn't buy in stores, because you see that on the wall and you just kind of want to fight for it. But at the same time, I definitely have some trepidation, I think is the word, about reopening these games that involve grabbing things, touching things, throwing things. It seems like it's a potential transmission vector kind of thing. I'm a little nervous about it. I hope I'm wrong about being nervous about it, but I'm not exactly pleased.
Yeah, I think surfaces are less concerned now than they used to be, and it's still more concerned about airborne, but it does put people closer perhaps together if you're competing against somebody. You have to ensure social distancing, and that's hard to do when you get like the energy and excitement of the competition of a game. So I'd be more concerned about that. I don't know why they didn't always have these really cute land-specific plushes to win when this opened, when the land opened in '98 or whenever it opened at the park. Because they're super cute and it does make you want to play the games.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, if watching Tom's live stream, and shout out to Eric Morton in the chat. Hey, Eric. You see that they're doing a really good job of cleaning things. I think they're being incredibly careful, and there's hand sanitizer available everywhere. And people, I mean, there was a line for the games the day Tom was there because it was the first day they reopened. So of course, like every blogger out there is waiting to catch a glimpse of these new plushes. And they were social distancing very well for people waiting to play the games. They were even basically, once there was a line, you could only play one game, and then you had to go get back in line to allow people to take turns, and one person couldn't stand there for half an hour and kind of hog up the space. What I learned about this is that Tom is terrible at carnival games. It's funny because I'm watching this, and so Jason went to... Yeah, we knew this because Jason and Tom went to Shanghai. Mm-hmm. They went to Tokyo and Shanghai last spring, and there were carnival games in Shanghai where that was the only way you could win. I think it was like a massive special limited edition pin, and like Jason, you had to play 4 different games and win them all to get the pin, and Jason got the pin, and then like he's standing there waiting for Tom forever because Tom cannot win these games. So like if nothing else, just watching this video to watch Tom play these games terribly is hilarious. But yeah, the plush are super cute. My favorite thing out of all of this really is that I love that we learned that the Dino Bash dinosaur, we learned his name is Daryl. So that is like, now a legacy thing that we can take away from all of this. And now we know the dinosaur.
All right, but chat wants to know, how do you spell Daryl?
Daryl.
I don't think we have it in spelling anywhere. The CM running the game told us, or told Tom, but I don't think it was actually in writing anywhere.
We gotta
put it in the Google Daryl the Dino. Someone tell us.
Yeah.
He's the first good thing to come out of Dinoland.
I love those things. I love all of those. The frustrating part is the fact that you have to win them, and that's the cool part. Like you said, Ben, it's like the good and the bad part of it is it's a really good prize, but you have to win them to get them. Watching Tom do that and putting down $30 to get the first one, like $5 at a time for these games, was crazy until I was thinking I paid $10 for this. So, for something of that size, that's actually not too bad if you can actually win it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But one other thing is I used to work at the games department at a theme park, and the odds are not in your favor. So,
I didn't think that they slanted it nearly that hard at Disney World. I thought that they came out and said, yes, we know these have a bad reputation, but we want people to be winning and having a good time.
Well, they probably, the hoop, they wouldn't do it. There's a formula you have to do, and you have to see how much are we paying for the plush versus how much are we going to charge people, and the odds of how many times they're going to win. So specifically like the basketball game, when you look at how big the ball is versus how big the hoop is, this is not regulation. This is just big enough for that ball to get in there. So you're going to have a lot more bouncing than you are actually the ball going in. So in that particular case, it is a little bit squeezed up. You still can win. It's not unwinnable like those old movies where they have the cans stacked up and they're all glued together. It's not.
I think
like
that's literally a crime. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. But it's not easy.
Yeah.
Having carnival games at Walt Disney World should be a crime. Anyway.
Agree.
Although I feel like roughly 2 hours Tom spent in Dinoland is the longest amount of time that any single person has ever spent in Dinoland ever. I will say it's nice to see these. Yeah, it's nice to see these open and bringing a little more life to the area. They had a merch kiosk open too. I remember when we were there when the park opened, and Rob and I were there with Tom, and the area just felt so just desolate, and it was almost a little painful to walk in there because Primeval Whirl was down. like the only thing running in that whole area was literally Triceratops Spin. Nothing else was open except there was one poor lonely CM over by one of the games who was pin trading, and like everything else in the whole area was closed. So it's nice to see these open and actually bringing a little bit more life to this area.
Makes sense. All right. One more big story to talk about, and I guess this is a bit of a downsize here, moving from Cinderella's Royal Table to Cinderella went to IKEA almost. The Cinderella's Royal Table has announced that they're reopening. The reservations are now available, and the price has been lowered due to a lack of princess interactions. I'm kind of glad that they acknowledge that they need to lower the price if they're going to cheapen the experience. And also, like, I feel like this might be a good opportunity for folks who are more interested in the view than they are in the character dining experience to be able to get in there and see the place. Because it is a very nice looking place. It's been a long time since I've been in there, but from pictures and stuff I've seen of it, it's gorgeous, and I'd love to end up there.
But it's tight. Like I think what you're paying for is you're going to be one of 4 tables. If you show the picture again, like you can see how close those tables are next to each other. It is. That's one thing I do remember from going there is that it is very close seating. So like you'd have to move that table out, and those tables are stacked right alongside. I mean, also, like, you're right. They have to lower the pricing here. I'm curious who's still going to do it. Like, what kind of interactions are there going to be? Do you still get the picture taken out front, but is Cinderella going to have, like, a mask on? Like, well, like it's there. This whole place is built on the best character interactions. Like, you're going to meet every princess and everything else. I guess if you want a good excuse just to go upstairs to see what's up in the castle, this is cool. But, yeah, I don't even know. This is the smallest little restaurant, I call it a restaurant, but the smallest table service, I think, room that I've been in on Disney properties. So I wonder how many tables are really going to have running up there.
I went last year, most recently, and I have a funny story that I'll share with the Wigs in the post show, so remind me. But I think, it's charming. It's kind of, the photos make it look a little bit better than the experience actually is. But I think it's really interesting that in the article and the press release from Disney, they're like, oh, you'll enjoy unforgettable main dishes. And I will tell you, those dishes were unforgettable because they are almost inedible, and you're paying a lot of money for food that is not good. Maybe part of the problem was the night before I had been to Victoria and Albert's, and then the next meal was here. So the contrast is a little bit intense. But no, I think, like, objectively speaking, it's a lot of money for, like, really poor quality food. And if there's then not the character interaction, like, not paying for much, and you actually don't get much of a view because of stained glass windows. You can't really see out the castle, so it's just a relatively, like, claustrophobic room, which has, like, the same kind of effect as if you actually a much smaller effect, but very similar to how you would feel at Be Your Guest with the theming, which is themed even better. So there's a lot of money to spend to have bad food and to not get character interaction, and to have, like, all right, it's a step above medieval times, but not exactly as nice as the pictures.
I totally agree with everything Allison just said. That's 100% spot on.
Yeah.
I would disagree with that, though. I think it was a good meal. Maybe you should have eaten Casey's in between, just to clean your palate. But when I've been, I had a good experience, and I honestly think, though, that the characters, I don't think they're necessary for that. I think that you could kind of zhuzh up that meal a little bit more and make it a fine dining without the characters, because I don't think kids love the environment. I think that, they just are there for the princesses and the wand. The adults are there for the ambiance and all that. But I still think it's cool to be able to say you ate in the castle, too. That has, little kids who don't know want to be, like, they want to eat in the castle, and that's their opportunity to do it. So I think even without the characters, it would still be a neat experience, and maybe open up, like you said, to more people who can't normally get in there because of how many people want to be in there to meet the characters. But I had a good meal.
Well, good.
I love Rob's positivity.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, we got one more thing to bring up for you folks. In case you were not aware, there has been a massive update to WDWNT, the app, available on iPhone and Android. We've been working on this for a while. That's why if you had some issues with the previous version, we may not have looked like we were responding. It's because we were working on overhauling this and making an entirely new version of this for you folks. It is a lot faster, a lot more easy to navigate and find what you're actually looking for, from park hours and menus and things like that, to the latest news stories, to listening to the WDWN tunes all through the app. It works so much better and smoother than it ever has. Not to mention the notifications are now much more customizable. You can change it so that you get notified about only the stories that you care about. It is a wonderful, wonderful feature. We've got more stuff coming down the pipeline as well to make that even better going forward. So if you checked it out before and weren't a fan, I highly recommend checking it out again now. So search your app store of choice for WDWNT, and you should be able to find that. And that is going to do it for this week's show. That bled off. Oh, well, I'll have to fix that later. Thank you all for watching ParksCenter. This show, if you like the show, please give us a like on YouTube. It helps other people find the show. Also, please subscribe if you like this. You can get notified every time that we go live. For all of the live shows that we usually do at least one live stream about once a day from the parks, and we try and do a show most nights. So subscribe for that. Also, a big shout out to our official travel partner, the Vacationeer. Let's try that again. The Vacationeer. The engineers of your next magical vacation. Thank you, Pete. So you can sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip, and it'll be so much easier than just trying to read words. I promise. And all their services are free.
People know I'm smart.
It's like that from hotels, park tickets, fast passes, dining reservations, and so much more. They do it all for you, and they don't charge you a cent. It's a wonderful, wonderful service they've got. So if you're interested in that, visit wdwnt.travel for more details. Big shout out to all of our WIGS members. We have a post show coming up in just a moment for you folks. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head on over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can become one of our WIGS members. Help support this show, every other show we put out there. Get access to our post show, the post shows for News Tonight when it comes back on October 1st. And access to exclusive WIGS only shows like Detailed and Ride Rehab Watches. So if you haven't done that yet, highly recommend you check that out, patreon.com/WDWNT. That is going to do it for this week's Folks Show. We will see you all next week or in the post show as appropriate. See ya.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bum, 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 bum. Hopper!
Lord of mercy. Down by the beach, boy.
Banana.
Lime Garage should be burned to the ground.
Oof! You shut up. You shut your face right now. And
I had to talk for the other day, and literally